Hey guys, it's me, Apollonia. Welcome back to my channel. Today I will be reviewing the Starch Solution by Dr. John McDougall, the Maximum Weight Loss Program by John McDougall, and John McDougall's cookbook. All of these three books do have recipes in them. So I wanted to begin. This is not a judgment channel, I was one who never thought that I could become vegan, that I could become plant-based. About 4 years ago, I tried to go from being a carnivore to being a raw vegan and failed dramatically. I got headaches. I did not feel good. I could not sustain myself on just fruits and vegetables. I know there's going to be a lot of vegans who would comment on this and be like, well, why? Why was it so hard? Why? And, when you're a carnivore your whole life, and to take that much of a dramatic shift is, for the average person, going to be very unlikely. Most people can't do things cold turkey. So I failed, went back to eating meat, and then eventually I was like, okay, let me just try to become vegetarian first. Then I became vegetarian for about a year and a half, 2 years, and then tried raw veganism again. Did not work out. Got headaches and went back to eating like the vegetarian burgers and like empanadas and burritos, and that was really unhealthy. And I was like, oh my god, spinning in circles. What do I do? And then I came across McDougall, and I thought, okay, I'll give it a shot. This sounds more doable. I mean, to be able to have, it just makes sense to have potatoes and rice that also come from the earth. And I know flour is manufactured differently. You do have to go get the barley and out in the fields, and then go back to the bakery, and then I don't know exactly what they do, but I know it's not as easy as just picking up a potato out of the dirt. You know what I'm saying? But you could have grains on this. I don't want to call it a diet, but lifestyle, and then fruits and vegetables are also incorporated, and that makes sense to me. You're not taking another life. I mean, when I was a kid, I used to think like, when I began to understand, oh, meat, oh my god, my universe is from an animal. Like, would I run up to a cow and take an axe and butcher it? I mean, some people will. I have seen earthlings. I have seen forks over knives, and in earthlings it was just disgusting. I saw the guys in there and how they would talk to the animals, and the way you treat an animal, I think the way someone treats an animal and a child is if you're dating them, that should definitely be taken into account, because the way they treat innocent creatures, I mean, that'll show you how they would treat you if you ever became an enemy. And that's how I observe people, actually. I always look at how they treat animals and children. So what I found to be interesting is that it doesn't matter if it's beef, chicken, pork, but any kind of meat, you're going to get about the same amount of fat, protein, cholesterol, except when it comes to eggs. I'm going to show you guys a little chart that I have here. And if you are following this, it's going to be on page 39. It's the one at the top there. So basically everything is the same except for methionine and for cholesterol. The eggs are obviously higher in cholesterol, which we've always known, and in methionine, I believe it's higher in chicken and in beef. And then down below, it shows you, how many grams you get for the same things for fat, protein, and all of the other categories there with grains. So the thing is that with animal products, our bodies are not meant to, if we overconsume, to just flush them out. I mean, we pack on the pounds of them. You see, having plant foods, they just kind of go right through us. I mean, there is a limit, obviously, when it comes to potatoes and rice. Like, we're not his method is that you do 50-50 when you're losing weight and you're doing the maximum weight loss program. And then when you're just trying to maintain your weight, you could do about 70% starch, and then the rest vegetables. So That's one thing that I found to be interesting. Another thing is, you know, when I watch Forks Over Knives, and they mention it in here too, is that like cholesterol is linked directly with cancer. And all of these, you know, fat, protein, cholesterol, methionine, dietary acids, all of them are linked to some kind of cancer or disease. And it just makes sense. I mean, I've heard Till Swan say this, is that if, you know, an animal dies and they're feeling anger or fear, whatever emotion. And you think about it like cannibalism. And there are some trippy stories where people do that just out of fun, not because they're out of food. Watch 60 Minutes. But, you know, you consume either of those. Like, doesn't it make sense? Like, in war, if you were to, I mean, war, you know, warriors, army men, they come back with PTSD. And I think part of that, too, was some of them being left on islands and not having very much food and taking in, you know, humans and that energy. And, you know, we may not feel the effect right away with animals, but over time we will. I know I've worked in retirement homes and I've seen older people, they'll fall, they'll get fractures. And what's interesting is this, the first thing they stop eating is meat. And not because most of them want to, they just feel that it's the right thing to do. And I've seen this many times with many people. And what's interesting is in here too, he actually gives a little chart on the fractures. And let me find it 1 second. This is on the fractures of every 100,000 people from consuming calcium from milk. Just to say, not to be gross, but I don't know if most of you know this, but milk, is actually cow's blood. So it's pretty gross, you know, on a side note. But I know some of you may be asking, where do we get our calcium? Where do we get our protein, right? So I have a list of where you can get it naturally. So protein, you can get it from edamame, split peas, peanuts, tofu, tempeh, lentils, beans, chickpeas, soy milk. He recommends almond milk more because nowadays the soy milk is so manufactured that they just throw out the soybean and it's a bunch of crap. Quinoa, and then as far as calcium goes, you get it from green leafy vegetables such as broccoli, cabbage, okra, not spinach though, soya, rice, oat drinks, pulses, sesame seeds, tahini, dried fruit, raisins, prunes, figs, and dried apricot. I guess I can't be a broken record, huh? So yeah, that's where you get your calcium. That's where you get your protein. You get fat from nuts and avocado, obviously. There's also a way to make some pretty good cheese from cashews in a blender, which I can give you guys that recipe. But you know, and you know what's interesting to think too is that animals, you know, you got to think about like cows. Like, why are people so consumed about where we get our calcium? Like cows that we get our milk from, they get their calcium from plants. I mean, and they're way bigger than us, right? So that, it just kind of seems like common sense to me. So that, I've lost about 10 pounds so far doing it. I've only been doing it like a few months. I did try, you know, doing like the vegan, vegetarian burritos and all that. I didn't drop too much, so I've had more success with this so far, so we'll see in a few months. I'd like to drop about another 20 pounds, so I am following the maximum weight loss program, and again, you're doing 50% grains, 50% vegetables. So my plates, what do they typically look like? They're going to be about half rice and half broccoli. The other side is going to be maybe the next night half potatoes, half eggplant, or a nice juicy salad with like lettuce, tomatoes, onions, and then some like seasoned distilled vinegar sauce as a dressing. Breakfast could be like 3 potatoes with bell peppers and onions. What I also do, I do like apples with some cinnamon, almond milk, coffee, and then a blueberry muffin, and I can give you guys that recipe. But I have tried keto, like before when I was a carnivore, and I tried all those diets, and it was up and down and up and down, and I don't want to be in this constant, you know, diet culture. That just like sucks. Like, why would I come to this planet and then for a small amount of time eat this way so that I can drop this weight and then go back to eating the way that I want to eat or the way that seems healthy, gain the weight, and then have to go back to a diet? I mean, that term shouldn't really exist, right? So this is a healthy living style, a healthy way of living. So I will give you guys a recipe before I tune out of here. He doesn't suggest coffee just because, like, for your overall health, that, you know, that it does boost your metabolism. That is something I'm working on. That's probably like my last addiction that needs to go, you know. So let's take a little look-see here. And just to know from Teal Swan's perspective, I have heard her say that because, you know, she's extrasensory, can, you know, I'm extrasensory too. I can see spirits, talk to them. I have my whole life. And, you know, anyways, with her, she has said that, she's more advanced than I am, way more advanced, and that she can see how people who think they can digest dairy and meat really can't, you know, and people think they can. I mean, 50% of the people I know, they say they're lactose intolerant, but are they really lactose, or should we just not be consuming those items? And so yeah, let's see here. Just want to bring up if there's any men that have an idea that women cannot have extrasensory abilities. You know, like, I know poor Teal had to go through that with Mormons. The thing of it is that we give birth, we bring souls into this planet. So how hard is it to believe that we can see souls in another dimension? Just wanted to throw that in. Anyways, if I have any religious men watching this channel. So I'm going to give you guys the blueberry muffin recipe. It's on page 225. Ain't that right? 225. Okay, blueberry muffin. So you're going to take 1 tablespoon of Energy G egg replacer, 1 cup of whole wheat pastry flour, 1 cup of white whole wheat flour or whole wheat pastry flour, 2 teaspoons baking powder, 1/8 teaspoon of sea salt, half a cup of applesauce, half a cup of agave nectar, half a cup of soy milk or rice milk, 1 teaspoon of pure vanilla extract, 1 teaspoon of fresh lemon juice, and 1 cup of blueberries. You're going to preheat the oven to 350 and bake it for about 25 minutes. The prep is going to take you approximately 20 minutes. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And yeah, stay tuned till next time. Ciao.